Do you ever feel like you're constantly on edge and your brain won't switch off no matter how hard you try? And no matter how hard you try to relax, something keeps pulling you towards the stress. Or maybe you know something isn't quite right and you're feeling the pressure and you don't know if it's stress at all. What if I told you stress isn't about what's happening around you? It's also about what you're allowing and what you're not aware of. In this video, I'm going to be explaining how stress works, how to identify if you are stressed, and if you are, what you can do about it. Stress isn't always about one big event that's happening that causes you stress. It can be about lots of little things all built up together. And the things we've talked about in my Healthy Habits series so far, if you're not getting enough sleep, if there's too much in your routine and you've not been able to organise it, if you're not getting enough exercise, and so on, can also be about your environment. And this is why two people can have exactly the same experience, and one person can find it stressful and the other person can find it a breeze. There are lots of things that can contribute towards stress, and it can depend what's important to you. It could be money, relationships, jobs, but how do we actually understand stress and how can we deal with it? Throughout this video, I'm going to explain what stress is, help you understand a little bit more what it could be in your own environment that could be affecting your stress levels, and give you some hints and tips on how to cope with stress. One way I find understanding stress the best is the stress bucket. So I just imagine I've got a bucket, I stick my job in there, which is my main role, plus what I do at home, my housework, plus the responsibilities of the family, plus doing the things I do outside of work, like 2 YouTube channels. Add that all in to my bucket and it soon becomes pretty full. The fuller the bucket, the harder it is to be able to cope with anyone else, because the bucket does have a limit and it can overflow. The idea is you find a way to release some of them things within your stress bucket, which can allow for unexpected things to come into the bucket without overfilling it. And later on in this video, I will be explaining to you what you can do to help release some of them stresses from your stress bucket. I'm out again today on another walk. This is actually my second one today. If you watched my last video last week, which was about routine, and I explained about when things come on and change your routine, how to adapt to that and not get stressed over it as well. So normally I film these videos on a Friday, but this Friday we're going away. So I won't be able to do it and I won't have it out on time for Sunday. So the only time I can do it is now, which is Monday, and it's Easter Monday. And I've already been out with my friend today, which we already planned. We did a run walk, 4-mile run walk. And I'm out doing a 3-mile walk later on this afternoon. So I thought, well, I can control this stress and I can adapt to it. So I'm going to move it. And I decided it's only a walk, I'll be fine. And I can just take it as leisurely as I want. So, yeah, if you haven't seen that video, head over and check it out. I must say, though, what a beautiful day it is today. One of the best so far this year. If you think about the effects that stress can have on the body, and I've spoken about cortisol before, without going into it in too much depth, stress causes cortisol. Well, cortisol is the main hormone of stress, and it is designed to help you in a time where you're in danger and you need to get out of the danger. But if we're not in a dangerous situation and we're still feeling stressed, or there's a scenario which we don't like and it's too much pressure, we can cause the cortisol hormone. And if that stays around too long, it can have detrimental effects on our bodies. So too much stress can cause a lot of health problems. One of the good things that you can do is that you can learn to identify your own triggers, what causes you stress. So if you are aware of the feeling of being stressed yourself and you understand how that feels for you, it's about learning What sets them things off? What sets the stress off? What causes it? Maybe next time it happens, like what I do, is I question it. So why am I feeling like this right now? What's caused me to get all agitated? Why am I feeling moody? And sometimes I can even have tunnel vision, depending on the scenario, if I just want to get out of a situation. And it's learning about what was it that happened right then that made me feel like this. And sometimes it can be something as simple as something somebody said. And in some environments, or maybe even earlier on in the day, you might have been in a better mood or something, and you would have been able to handle that a lot better. So was it what the person said, or was it how you were feeling before that person said it? So asking yourself the question and being honest with yourself, what actually happened there? What led me to feel this stress? And just break it down and find out what the real trigger is, not the actual thing that set you off, because it's not always that last thing that happened. And as I mentioned with the stress bucket, you may already have a full bucket and that one thing that's been said to you just made your bucket overflow. And as I've mentioned before, we're not robots, we are human beings. And I do believe we're living in a world where we expect far too much from our mind. We are overstretching ourselves without giving ourselves any time to reset or rest. And if you think of our minds like a computer, when a computer gets all jammed up, it can be defragged. And what that does is it takes all the files and groups them together with similar files. I'm not 100% exactly what it does, but I know that much. And that actually leaves space for more files. One thing I'd absolutely love to be able to do and get into the habit of doing, which I don't already do fully, is I'd like to learn the art of meditation. I do believe it has massive benefits and is very rewarding, and it can help you deal with scenarios where you would feel stress normally in a much calmer way, because I do believe it's like defragging a computer. You are totally resetting your mind. It's like anything, you can't just do it once and it fixes it. It's about consistently making meditation part of your routine. Now, if you're like me and just haven't got into that yet, or you may not believe in all that, you may not think it works, do some research. And one of the ways that you can help yourself is by not fully meditating, but at least taking yourself away from it all. Finding, even if it's for 10 minutes, finding somewhere peaceful, no phones, no TV, nobody else around you. Even some people I know actually sit in the dark and then just sit there for 10 minutes. Or lay down, shut your eyes for 10 minutes. And it's about allowing your mind to go wherever it wants. It's trying to file the files into the right places. All the things you see in the day that your brain takes in, all the situations you've been in, all the conversations you've had, your brain can get pretty full. And just by closing your eyes for 10 minutes and getting away from it all and sitting peacefully and relaxing and allowing your mind to go where it wants, will have massive benefits. It will start to file all that information, so it wants to put everything in the right place. And if you're not giving yourself time to do that, then you're just putting more information on top of that information, then more information on top of that information. Your stress bucket is getting fuller and fuller and fuller, and you don't have any way of releasing any of it. Another good way of releasing stress is doing some exercise. And as I've mentioned before, it's not about going out there, waiting until you're red-faced and sweaty. Just getting up and moving, doing something. Going for a walk. It doesn't even have to be a fast pace. Let's get out in the fresh air. I mean, I find this really relaxing. Coming out here, going for a walk, especially when the weather's like this, it's beautiful. And I enjoy everything I'm seeing around me. Even when I'm talking to you, I'm still looking around, enjoying the scenery and even some wildlife. One thing I know I'm guilty of, and I know there's others out there, is that we do like to think we're robots. We think if we allow people to know we're stressed, that it's a weakness and we feel like a failure. You don't know what other people are going through, what causes them stress in their environment. They don't know what you've got going on in your stress bucket. We can find ourselves comparing ourselves to somebody else who seems to be managing perfectly well on the surface and think, why are we struggling? Why is it a failure? Am I weak? And that can cause us not to do anything about it, to try and ignore it and carry on. When that person themselves may also be struggling, or they may be using a way to release some of that stress from the stress bucket. They may be meditating, they may be doing exercise. They have control over it. So if you're one of them people that thinks if you talk about this, you are a failure, or if you don't like yourself because you find your reactions to stress are quite high, then find a way to control the stress. Find a release from your stress bucket. And if it all gets too much, just talk to somebody. Sometimes I find it very hard to go into work. I can find it quite overwhelming. A lot of very strong-minded people in one environment. We all have our own ideas. And I have to ask myself, how do I want to show up today? Who do I want to be when I'm getting that office? Am I going to allow myself to feel stressed and react to someone else's comments? And it's not always because the other person is wrong. It's how I choose to react to what they say. So when I learned about how to manage my own state, I thought it was amazing. So I decide, how am I going to show up today? Before I even get into work, I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be motivated. I'm not going to allow anyone to burst my bubble or anyone to steal my magic. And then I just remind myself of that throughout the day. And I also use a thing called an anchor. And an anchor is something I learned when I did my NLP practitioner's course. Now, this can be simply a finger and thumb. Easy as that, finger and thumb. And when you press your finger and thumb together, that is going to be the anchor. So when you're feeling like something may trigger you, press your finger and thumb together and that changes your state. So how does that work? Well, the idea is that you build it up over time. So anytime you're feeling good, strong, happy, powerful, you press your finger and thumb together. And the finger and thumb being pressed together associates with strong, happy, positive feelings. One way of doing this is to remember a time when you were powerful, strong, felt really good, and have your finger and thumb pressed together at the same time. And that's how you start building it up. Every now and again, think of these strong, positive thoughts and hold your finger and thumb together. And then eventually you will build up a good association on that anchor. And what I do as well is any time I feel good, or I hear some music that makes me feel good, or I'm feeling really good about myself that day, I will squeeze my finger and thumb together and add that to the programming, if you like, of my finger and thumb being pressed together, my anchor. And then the idea is, if you're ever feeling like you may be triggered, or you can feel that building up, then hold that finger and thumb together and all the associated feelings should come flooding through. Also, it's about knowing what we can actually control and what we can't control. If there's something that's coming into your life that you can feel yourself getting triggered from, is it something that you can actually control in the moment, or is it something you have no control of? If you have no control of it, learn to let it go. Learn to know that you have no control. There are lots of different tools out there to help with stress, but the important thing is being aware of it, being aware of yourself and what triggers you, and find out what works for you to help you. Do some research, speak to somebody. So it's all about knowing yourself, knowing what's important to you, knowing your own boundaries, what you will tolerate and what you won't tolerate. So this is about learning to find different ways of helping you release the stress. If you're feeling stressed, or if you feel you carry on, you may end up exploding. So if you think about the stress bucket, how full is yours at the moment? If it's quite full, have you got any tools there to release some of the stress? Do you exercise? Do you meditate? What do you do? It's about being aware of yourself, your own triggers, and not allowing yourself to react in a negative way to things around you. Finding out whether it's something you control or something you can't control. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you want to watch more like this, I do have a community. The link will be in the description. Over there at the moment, I am still running with my free Wheel of Life series, which goes into all different areas of your life, and stress is one of them. So if you want to go find out more, head over there. Thank you for joining me on my walk. It's been a pleasure. Like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And I will see you next week. Till then, goodbye.